Hey there, making a quick Wellness Wednesday video. It is the summer months, and I have been looking to nature for a little bit of wisdom. And I know that a lot of people out there are searching for connection and meaning and hope. And I do aim to provide that along with health, life coaching, and consulting on precision medicine. I do research, I teach. I'm a human being who has failed more times than, I don't know. It's all just lessons, right? I'm not even calling them failures anymore. Um, and so I work as a coach and a consultant and have left my safe job with a pension and a nice little cozy check that came every 2 weeks to bring self-healing to the masses. And as a trained counselor who trains counselors, I wanted to provide therapeutic mindset information outside of a therapy setting, because a lot of individuals never go to therapy and never realize that they can heal themselves with some elbow grease and some hard work. And then the integrative health coaching is just a passion of digging into root causes of both mental health conditions and physical health conditions, and working with patients all over the world. I'm a researcher at the Harkin Institute studying pregnancy and disability and chronic illness in high-risk populations. And I teach at Drake University in their master's program. And I'm a consultant to precision medicine. And I'm just doing all the things that I love as I've stepped up into my truth and working on the whole person. And so with that, at times I will do life coaching, spiritual work, when someone's struggling with purpose and meaning. And I'm an ordained minister. I've done a wedding because I was asked, and it was super fun. And I'm just about having fun and doing the work that's worth doing with myself and for others. That's what I'm here for, to serve and to provide information that I wish I had along my healing journey, and providing those resources because it's for the greater good, and why not? Okay. So this summer, been taking, some walks. I love looking at nature. Nature is very healing. There's so much research around being in nature. And, with that, it's kind of looking at through the world, through eyes of a child, through wonderment, seeing how everything is all connected, getting outside of, our stories and into, we're all connected, and just embracing the spirit that is in nature. And there's so much research in this area. Someone's going to say, well, would you cite a resource? There's so much. Go and do. If you work with me, that I was, well, let's do this together. Because if you're not gonna believe that, then that's not really your entry point right now. When do people feel the best on vacations? Usually when they're outside, when they're connecting. It's about that thing that is bigger than us. And I always tell my personal story of my journey from wellness, which is a lifelong unfolding journey. And having been somebody that was on 14 different medications for 14 different conditions, having struggled with this, that, and the other, and leaning into unraveling kind of a mess, kind of a health mess, and then getting trained on it has been just a very eye-opening experience to be on both sides, and to really dig into the work. And I just find so much comfort in so many connections in nature. And I wanted to share just some short wisdom on the lotus flower today. I mean, you see this symbol all over the place with yoga and with wellness. And I mean, if you really, really think about it, this flower blooms every day and comes out of the murk. And then and then it goes back. And we do this every day with sleep. It's not through the murk and the dirt and the grime we become our most beautiful selves, but this is where we're refreshed, reborn, renew, like my yoga teacher says. Yoga with Jayla, got to give her the credit. And we are the same way. There's so many signs into nature of our true selves, and the lotus flower is, well, I mean, there's everything. Whatever connects with you, that's your sign. And yes, I'm a researcher and I'm talking about science, and it's okay. It's okay to do those things because everyone has their own life experience and things are meaningful to them in different ways. And that's okay. That's your truth. And that's super dope. So I look to the lotus flower for inspiration. And, it is so symbolic to just a human experience. We all suffer and we all go through hard things and we all get a second chance, and each day is a new chance. Each breath is a new chance. And why am I telling you this? To give you some self-healing tools to be able to start over. So no matter what has happened in your life, no matter where you're at, what kind of symptoms you're experiencing, what pain, what hardship, what suffering is the human condition. We all can sit with it. We can sit with hard things. We can go back to the breath, doing breath work, doing yoga, having a meditation practice, walking in nature, whatever that is for you, to get you connected back and get your parasympathetic nervous system calm down, especially if you've had a life of chronic stress. I keep talking about this just because trauma is so prevalent in our society. And there is not a pill for trauma. There is not a quick fix for trauma. There is deep internal work, and trauma-informed practitioners, I am one, that can give you tools for that. We get stuck in our stories. Our past, spoiler alert, actually doesn't exist right now. Neither does our future. So we tell ourselves these past stories and these future stories, but the only thing that truly exists is right now. And so we get stuck in these stories. We live up or down to the story that we are telling ourselves that are created. And that becomes our reality. Our internal world is reflected outward. If we are telling ourselves this negative story of doom and gloom, and we're angry, and we keep a lot of anger inside of us, you're going to see a lot of anger in the world. I see individuals who've gone through very similar circumstances, and it's all about the mindset of one person versus another, whether they heal or not. I've been researching a lot of different, I don't know, I'm kind of drawn to like Holocaust survivor stories, and, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and others that have gone through just these things. And it's not to say that their trauma is bigger than yours. That's not a thing. You cannot compare things. It does put some things into perspective, but what hurts for you, and you need to have that validated for you, whatever that is. And I think that just the word trauma is very scary. So I'm going to use other words for that. Hurt, pain. I'm trying to listen to all the different words that people are using to describe trauma, a negative experience, a hard childhood. I went through a bad breakup. It was a hard time. It was really challenging. Those things that sit with you, that you go back and you just search your memory for. When you're searching a memory, and our memories are pretty faulty, it's not a really good operating system, our memory, because we have our belief systems constructed around that. And so the reality of the situation, then you have a layer of your personal experience and everything else that gets clouded, that gets really clouded as to what really happened. Here's an example. Last year, I remember being in a meeting, and there was like 4 or 5 of us around the table. And then we went and we left, and we were, this is going to be very relevant to everyone. So have you ever been in a meeting where there was a couple of you around the table, and then you left and you took away action items? Like, what did you hear the person saying? What did you hear the person saying in the meeting? And everyone said a different thing, that they heard a different thing. Well, we were in the same place at the same time talking about the same thing, but there's 4 different, I'm going to call them stories of what happened in that meeting, because it's all of our different lenses that we're looking at this. And so it's a big aha for me. It was a big aha because I realized, oh boy, I need to adjust my lens, because that's some of the stuff that's happening is because of the lens that I'm looking at the world through. The other thing is, oh boy, this is an opportunity to change the lens in which that I look. And that's really the work that we're here to do as human beings living here now. So why am I telling you all of this thing? Because you like the lotus flower, get a chance in every moment to be reborn, refreshed, renewed, no matter what has happened, because the story is a memory. Okay, I'm not saying that memories don't exist. They do. The story is a memory, but if you're living stuck in the past, it's like being in a prison in your own mind. Same is true for the future. We're telling ourselves what could, might be happening. Well, what happens with that, with our brains, when we live in a state of fear, we actually subconsciously scan the environment for all of these things which might occur, which actually makes some of these scenarios sometimes come about, because we're constantly scanning the environment for in a fearful state. And so that's the lens that you're looking at that. That is why the breath, staying with difficult things. And when I'm doing this, I'm breathing in the moment, taking a 5-second breath in and a 10-second belly breath out, practicing that twice a day, starting just with a couple of breaths and then going up to 20 minutes. Dr. Andrew Weil, he has done a lot of research on the 4-7-8 breath. Only do 4 rounds of these to start out with. So you breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold for 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out 8. I'm just laughing because I'm doing deep breathing on a video, and it just kind of tickles me. But getting back in the breath in every moment, we get stuck in these stories. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just the tape that's running in the background. You are more than that, but you are not your thoughts. And we sometimes get trapped with these. And what doesn't help is for individuals that were there at the time, kind of, reminding you of this and you believing that. So then they put that on you, and it's not their fault, but this is society's way of like reminding you of like, this is who you used to be, and like, but I'm not this anymore. And that's a practice to just not react to that, and to always be able to get to the breath and just accept where you're at. Like, this is a hard thing right now. They said something crazy. I don't agree with that. But be able to sit with it. And there, you can change. Everything can change. Our brains are not fully formed until we're 30 years old. Personality actually can change along the lifespan if you do the work. You can do so much. There's so much opportunity. There's breath work, there's meditation, there's yoga, there's ego work, there's shadow work, there's inner child work, there's reparenting yourself. There is just education around what the ego is, and what the mindset is, and consciousness and spiritual awakenings. There's all of this information out there that's available, and there's so many ways to change, and there's no one right way. The right way, to be very dualistic here, is whatever works for you. That's your way. So that's why what works for you, and you hear stories of what works for other people, and then it doesn't work for you because you're not them. You don't have that same life experience. And so to be able to trust yourself in the moment, you are not your story. You aren't what you're telling yourself. You're looking at it through a lens of maybe how you were then, maybe where you're at now. And if the lens has trauma involved in it, it's going to be not what actually is within you. There's so much more to you than what you think. And digging into that is the work that we're here to do. Trauma lives in families, intergenerational trauma, and it can also stop with families. The trauma can stop here. And, I've done that work. Brene Brown talks about her doing a genogram in grad school, and I did the same thing. And I did the genogram, which is like a family history on both sides, like going back all the way, like how did they die? What was their health condition? All of these things. And it was trauma, and expressed in a variety of ways, all the way to the very top. And so that at the cellular level, trauma does get passed down, and is not only is it the way that you're parented as a little person, but it literally lives in your cells. And so we do have a lot of work to do to And we also have a lot of opportunity here. So if you feel like you're stuck, there's so many ways. I work with so many individuals that are at the end of the ropes. They have chronic conditions, rare diseases, mental health symptoms that we're stuck at. There's a lot of tools. There's a ton of tools. You just haven't been taught. None of this stuff is taught. It's just not. I want to make it viral. That's why I'm making these videos on these Wellness Wednesdays here, to try to make it accessible to everyone. We all can heal. That is the message. We all can heal. Look to nature, look to the lotus flower, and know that, we are an extension of nature, and anybody can change. These stories, they're not just outliers. They're not just exceptional human beings. They're just people that realize their true potential and the opportunity to heal. And they took advantage of that. That's the only difference. They are no different than anyone else. And their stories, if there's like a part of you that identifies with that can be you. You can do that work, and you can realize healing. Everything can heal. And healing is not a cure, okay? I'm challenging that word as well. Healing is a mindset that, yeah, this happened to me, and so what? It doesn't define you. You're not attached to the label. You don't react to it anymore. You have risen above that scenario. It was an experience, a life lesson. For me, everything that could be perceived as negative has been the greatest learning lessons of my life. And I'm so grateful for them. They've been life's greatest teacher. And there's another level beyond that, this is just life. This is it. And this happened, and not getting drawn back into the narrative of the story. Not, if someone misperceives the story, that's fine too. Sure. They're telling you where they are at with that. And so once you get past and on a healing journey, and someone misperceives you, you don't care, because you're past that. And just like a lotus flower, you can arise from the murk every day. And we get a chance every single day. And that's on you. So while your hurts, while your bruises, while your harms, while your trauma, while your negative experiences may not be ultimately your fault, when you recognize that this has occurred, it is your responsibility to heal. No one's going to come and save you. It is your responsibility to reparent yourself. It is your responsibility to take advantage of other tools outside of your healthcare dollars. There are free tools. I'm making a free tool right now. You are allowed to ask me a question and get information on this. Where can I go? Where can I read more information? There's a lot of individuals stepping up and sharing their stories, sharing healing information. And in the time of information overload, TMI, truly, there really isn't an excuse. And so everything that you are thinking is taking you further away from healing. You're putting up your own roadblock. And I know that's a hard truth. I put many roadblocks up for myself for a very long time. And so talking to myself when I'm saying this, so I don't continue to do that. Everything can heal. Healing is not a cure. Healing is acceptance, radical self-love, not attachment. Everything in life is temporary, even that lotus flower. The lotus flower will become something else every day. But that I did want to provide some hope and inspiration from nature. Nature can be healing. Get out and take a walk. I am going to share more about what I'm doing, but I got to get to work here. There's a lot happening. I'm still going to get out the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth research, the UTI research. I am hopefully going to get more of this content out, but I'm also leaning into healing and relaxing and enjoying life, and not overworking anymore. And so you're free to always ask a question, and everything can heal. It's really beautiful when it happens. Have a good day. Bye-bye.